Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another exciting episode of the Token and Hobbs Show. Mine is Hobbs plus Ben here on the Think Liberty Network. How you doing, everybody? So glad you were able to join us for tonight. So glad that we're able here to join you. I am not joined, as always, with my partner in crime, Dustin Hobbs, because Dustin Hobbs decided that he had better things to do than sit down with us and talk liberty. The nerve of that man. The absolute nerve. Ben, I'm mad at him. Are you mad at him?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the big deal is. I mean, it's just a kid.
I know. Babies are born every single day. There's nothing special about it.
Yeah.
Well, what's the big deal?
What's that book? Everybody poops? Well, everybody fucks too.
Yeah, everyone does that. Like I remember when my wife was in the hospital, both times really, they play that music every time a baby's born. And I swear every 10 minutes there was another baby being born. Like, oh, we really aren't that special, are we? It's like
everybody's done it. What the heck? Everybody's been born. Big deal.
There's dozens of other families in here right now having babies too. Like, whatever. Mine's gonna be the cutest. I already know it. So all these other people, they're having ugly babies. I'm the only one here with a cute baby. Scientific fact.
The world needs ugly people too, so that the beautiful people like us would be elevated. You know.
Yeah. Just think about the average American and how ugly he is, and realize half people in the country are uglier than him.
Yeah. You know, maybe I'm one of the ugly people, but I wonder if the really ugly.
No. We do not have ugly people on Road to Liberty.
I wonder if ugly people know they're ugly, or I mean, we talk about privilege. What about attractive privilege?
Attractive privilege is a real thing. I feel very privileged by the fact that I am a very good-looking human being, and everybody on the Roach crew. We do not put ugly people on the air at our podcast.
What type of discrimination would that be called? We're I don't even know what you would call that.
There's got to be some kind. I'm sure the SJWs have an
official term for it.
Yeah, you know what I got accused of yesterday? It was the most out of the blue weird accusation I've ever heard. I got accused of digital blackface because I used a GIF of a black person, and they're like, "Oh, good to know you're into digital blackface." I'm like, "What the?"
You know what? This ties into that woke or racist video. Remember that one? That's like a masterpiece.
Yes.
Wouldn't white supremacists not want people to use GIFs of black people?
They probably wouldn't. They'd probably call you a race traitor for doing it.
A race traitor for using black GIFs. And here you can't. I don't know.
I mean, are we supposed to think of members of other races as normal human beings? Are we supposed to think of them that way? Because that's how I tend to think.
I think if you do that, you're racist.
Yeah. I mean, it's a weird conundrum because, like, the way I look at people as an individualist is I see them, I go, that's an individual. That's a person with their own values, their own personality, their own character traits, you know, some good, some bad, their own, you know, personal history. As an individual, right? The same thing that every individual has, and they're all different. Apparently, I'm not supposed to do that. That makes me a totally horrible, no good, very bad, racist human being, and I just need to be smacked down.
I saw an interesting post that somebody put up about the Libertarian National Committee. That it's like the first majority woman. It's the first time there's been a majority that is women and LGBTQ alphabet, whatever. Which
in the LP?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So,
like, membership wise?
No, the Central Committee.
Oh, is there?
Yeah. See, we don't even know that. It's just people doing their jobs, and we elected them in.
Yeah, I don't know who the hell any of these people are.
Yeah,
I know Josh Smith is there. I know Joe Bishop Henchman.
and he,
I think Karen Ann Harlos is still on the LNC.
yeah, but
Oh,
I mean,
John
just the fact that
Phillips.
they're not posting. If this had been a Democrat
Oh
Central
God.
Committee, they would have posted about how diverse they are, how how much they've worked for this moment to happen, and they have quotas too to make that happen, and half the time they can't even do it. And I think the chair, he's the first gay chair of a national party. Democrats
Oh,
would
is
have,
he?
yeah. See that? Then again, see, he's just the guy. He's the chair. But
Yeah,
Democrats,
I didn't even know he was gay until after he got elected, and some douchebag was like, The LP elected gay people out of a social justice party now." I'm
yeah,
like,
we weren't doing it for social justice. He's the best guy for the job.
I mean, I've been a Josh Smith guy for a while, but I'll be completely honest with you. I did not know jack shit about Joe Bishop Henchman before the election, and I still don't know very much about him. So except that he was on Mad TV as a teenager in San Diego, like protesting curfew laws. So that's pretty
I mean, I
based.
like Josh, but Joe has tremendous experience in politics. And if you went and looked at some of the stuff he did in that first meeting, organization wise, he just blew anything Sarwark ever did out of the water. I mean, everybody just like I mean, we're getting into some weeds on some LP stuff. Our viewers probably hate it, but Sarwark, people voted,
No, they love us.
people voted for Sarwark because they're like, oh, he runs a great meeting. Well, he may have needed some organizational experience to get the most out of that position he was in.
See, quite frankly, I was hoping Josh would win just so that all the right people would faint and have a heart attack about it. Because you remember what was going on before that convention happened. People were making shit up. People were digging into his past. People thought that him getting elected chair would like bring upon us the apocalypse or something, and they acted like it. So I was just kind of hoping those people would fuck off and leave the party if Josh
Even
Smith
though
won.
Josh was supposed to be the anti-Sarwark candidate, I think the party would have been more like what Sarwark was doing when he was in power. Because Sarwark, for some reason, he ended up being very divisive, and I don't know. And Josh wouldn't have intended to do it, I'm sure, but he still would have been divisive, and it would have been the same goofy shit going on at the LNC.
Well, the LNC managed to make the porcupine the official mascot of the party,
Yeah, why was
so
that?
that's
Why was that
exciting.
so hard to do for the last 8 years?
I don't know why the LP didn't have an official mascot already. Like I've seen different people suggest different things, like, oh, what about a lion? Like that doesn't really represent us. What about a penguin, the Liberty Penguin? Like that's fucking stupid. A penguin? Like why? Like I know there was like something about back in the 80s, some people like made the penguin like a mascot for
They have
libertarians.
some fucking badass dance moves. Haven't you ever seen that movie?
What Happy Feet? Is that the one? The
That's not a,
tap dancing
that's not a
penguin?
documentary.
No,
Oh,
no, it's not. Well, there is a documentary. It's got what Morgan Freeman's doing the voiceover for it.
yeah.
I don't remember what it's
Morgan
called.
Freeman.
No,
He's a voiceover for everything.
March of the Penguins. That was
But yeah, I
it.
mean, why something small like that they couldn't get done, and now there's a new person. See, some people I just think were against Sarwark just because he said it. You know what I mean?
What, that he wanted the
I mean,
porcupine?
that's what I think part of the divisiveness was. Just because he said something, some people would automatically think it's a shit idea.
Sarwark.
I still want to get him on.
Sarwark
I still want to
was
get him
one
on
of
the
those
show.
dudes. He just loved to hear his own voice. I mean, he could be pretty snarky and funny at times, but yeah, wasn't a big fan of the guy. Not a big fan of the guy. I'm hoping I'm a much bigger fan of Joe Bishop Henchman than I am of Sarwark. Mercedes goes, "I'm the penguin, thank you."
Like the Batman one.
The one that Danny DeVito played.
Like the evil criminal penguin.
Oh my god! Do you remember Danny DeVito doing the penguin? That was the scariest shit. He had like flippers for hands. He like bit someone's ear off. He wore like that onesies pajamas and had
Vaguely, I think I only watched that one once.
He had a boat that sailed in the sewers, shaped as a rubber ducky, and he had an army of penguins that went onto the surface and kidnapped children and put them in cages. The scariest shit I'd ever seen as a kid.
So he
like no
was
joke.
He gonna make his was he ahead of his time and he was gonna make Cuties, or
oh my god.
was that
he was taking all those poor kids into the sewers to twerk for him.
Since everybody's so pedo aware now, that villain takes on a whole new meaning.
I don't think Danny DeVito would be degenerate enough to take on a role like that.
No, yeah. I mean, that's just creepy. I didn't remember that part of it, that he was stealing children to keep in cages.
He was kidnapping kids out of their
an ICE agent, or
in the middle of the night.
Huh.
And he would put them in cages. I don't even remember why he was doing this.
Maybe
I gotta go watch that movie.
He thought they were immigrants.
He was taking them all to the nearest ice shelter.
Oh, there you go. Ice shelter. Boy.
Oh,
we've created a whole new supervillain for DC Comics here. Penguin.
Oh my god. The penguin is just
he has the ice shelter. He has the ice shelter and he hauls children there in cages.
I feel like Mr. Freeze would be a better agent for ICE than the penguin would be.
Because he's German and he could be a fascist, or what?
No, but he's called Mr. Freeze, working for ICE. See, it's a pun. Not a very good one, but it's a pun. You can have Arnold Schwarzenegger reprise his role and do nothing but ICE puns all over again.
Yeah, I saw a clip of that. That was terrible. As somebody who angry reacts every pun they see. That was terrible.
Absolutely degenerate. Speaking of degeneracy, let's get into this topic. The topic of Netflix airing softcore kiddie porn on their streaming service and the reaction it's gotten. Because, oh boy, it's had all kinds of reactions. Most good, some absolutely degenerate, deserving of a wood chipper. But yeah, let's talk about this for a bit. So this has been the controversy of the week. I feel like every week we do this show, there's a controversy of the week, right? That we get to talk about.
Token and Hobbs, controversy of the week.
That's what it is. In our new section, our new segment, we need to do segment music for something. But yeah. So first of all, no, I haven't seen the movie, and no, I do not plan.
I canceled my Netflix a while ago, honestly.
Yeah, I got my sister pays for Netflix, and she can have different family members on it. But I'm like, yeah, you can go ahead. I won't complain if you cancel that shit, because I don't think I'm gonna be watching any Netflix from here on out. So it's a French movie, came out in France, won some kind of Sundance festival or something over there, right? And Netflix brings it over to the United States, and immediately they drop their poster, and that immediately sets off a shitstorm, right? Do you remember the poster? It was like the four main characters. These are all supposed to represent 11-year-old girls, right? They're all 11 or 13, and they're posing in skimpy outfits, doing blatantly sexual poses on the poster. One's got her hand up there, the other's got her crotch spread open. It's and immediately people saw this and just looked at it
what the heck?
that looks like kiddie porn. What the fuck am I looking at here? And it didn't help that Netflix's description of the film was essentially made it sound like a celebration of child sexuality.
Yeah, now that I've seen more articles about it, their description of it wasn't even what the film's actually about.
Yeah, it made it seem like a you go girl female empowerment kind of movie, right? Which is would be bad enough as an adult film. Like, you go girl, be a stripper, female empowerment. That'd be kind of not the best message in the world if we're talking about full grown adults.
Mm-hmm.
But talking about full grown girls, whatever. Not for me. I won't watch it. You do whatever you want. We're talking about children here.
Mm-hmm.
We're not talking about full grown adults. You go girl, go strip for female empowerment does not apply to little girls, which is what the description of the movie made it sound like it was going to be. Now, it has since come out that apparently the purpose of this film is to be a social commentary about how that's a bad thing. Like, okay, that's a good message. It's good to say sexualizing kids is wrong and you shouldn't do it.
So let's sexualize these kids.
Yeah, there's your problem right there. You can't say, hey, sexualizing kids is bad, and I'm going to prove it to you by sexualizing these kids. See, does this make you uncomfortable? Does this make you feel bad? Does this make you angry? Well, it should. Like, yeah, it makes me very uncomfortable. Makes me, I guess, mission accomplished, because I am very uncomfortable by all of this. So uncomfortable, in fact, that I probably will never watch.
There's been multiple movies that I can think of in the past, though, that like there was that one. The movie was called Kids. It was.
I never saw it.
This was back before people seemed like they're super pedo aware. And what's the other one? The one with the hitman, and he's got the little girl with him. Did it have that French guy?
Yeah,
I think another Frenchie. But that was
the guy that was in Godzilla.
Yeah, that was a little weird.
That's where I know him from.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like this is a new thing that people throw this up on the big screen. And then going into the Wayback Machine, there was one is like Return to the Blue Lagoon. It was basically two 14-year-olds making out with each other. And I was about that same age at the time, so I thought it was hot probably, but it's not something that kids should be doing in a film that a bunch of adults are going to see. No,
it's definitely not. And I've seen people try to make analogies to try to hit home to people why this still isn't a good thing. Because I get the argument, right? I've seen
just think about how weird it is. You got a studio full of grown adults. I mean, there's a lot of people on a movie production. You got a room full of adults watching these kids be sexualized. Taxi Driver. Somebody that's really hitting the Wayback Machine. I forgot about that one. Yeah, so it's been going on for. It's not like Cuties is the first film to be mainstream that's done this. Not that I'm justifying him. I'm just saying it's been going on for a long time. Like, it seems like all this pedo shit is. We're just very aware of it now.
Yeah. And I mean, it's a good thing that we're more aware of this kind of thing going on now. And on top of that, the internet's a thing now.
The Professional, so that was the movie.
Oh, the one with...
our viewers are awesome. They're not retarded like me.
Well, I just know the guy in it as the dude from Godzilla, so I mean
that was I mean, I can't remember how old I was, but I was old enough to realize that this is kind of creepy. The situation's going on here with this old man and this girl. I think I was still a teenager.
With the exception of Taxi Driver, I've never even heard of any of these movies that you've mentioned.
I mean, The Professional is a good movie. It's just got this weird, creepy old man and little girl dynamic that towards the end of it, and you're like, what is going on here?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen people mention these films when talking about Cuties, right? But before this whole thing up, like, I'd never heard of Kids or The Professional, or I mean, I've heard of Taxi Driver, but
yeah, Taxi Driver. I can't remember the scene in Taxi Driver, but I remember it was pretty creepy. So
isn't that movie about the taxi driver going around killing pedos?
Boy, it's been a while since I've seen it.
Isn't that part of the movie?
I don't remember if he kills pedos or not.
I I think someone told me once that that's like a part of the movie, but I've never seen Taxi Driver, so I can
That's the
neither
one.
confirm
That's
or
where
deny.
that. Are you talking to me?
Yeah,
That's where that
yeah,
one comes from. That's where that scene
yeah.
comes from. But yeah,
I
so
mean,
it's been going on. So why I don't understand why they thought they need to make a movie. Boy, Robin has some good example. She has a good memory. David, I still have nightmares about it. Thanks for bringing it up.
before he's crotch in
I was a small
labyrinth.
child when I saw it, and it still haunts me. Thanks for bringing that back. David Bowie's
Oh,
crotch in the labyrinth. Somebody said,
that thing needs to be
"Oof,
censored.
yeah."
Seriously.
I think
Absolutely.
probably if that's on Netflix or Hulu now, they've got censored out his bulge.
You know what? I'm a libertarian at all, and in general principle, I'm against censorship. But my God, someone really needs to censor that shit. No one needs to see
See
that.
David Bowie's crotch in the labyrinth.
Like, oh my goodness. I
But
mean, but yeah, we're more aware of this kind of stuff nowadays, I guess. And the internet has really given people an outlet to voice their concerns about it, right? And here's the thing. Here's the thing about it. I understand the movie was made with the intent of saying sexualizing kids is bad. Okay, I get that. I understand that argument. But there's two things that cut against that, right? Like, one, they had to sexualize actual real life children in order to make this film. Like, say this was a book, right? This wouldn't be an issue at all. Like, not even close to an issue, because in a book you can do it all inside a person's head. You don't have to, graphically describe what's going on, and you're not actually sexualizing anybody. It's a book. It's words on a pages. There's no actual children involved.
Even a
Two,
graphic novel. I mean, why couldn't they made it a graphic? I mean, if that's the lady, I guess it wouldn't have got as much an audience, but
it's the gratuitousness of this too, because it's not just, okay, we're gonna show little girls dancing provocatively. Ew, gross. We shouldn't let people do that. It's the way that they film this movie. It's indistinguishable from if somebody were actually trying to make kiddie porn. Like, a lot of close up on kids' private areas, right? It's very much trying to sexualize these scenes, and that's done on purpose. So if you were to see this without any without knowing that it's supposed to be a commentary on child sexualization, it's indistinguishable from if it were actually child porn. There's no difference. Like, if you were just to take those scenes of those dances, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
well,
Right?
and it's weird the division on it too of people that stand up for it. Like some people are saying, "Well, you're missing the message." Others are like, "Well, you're only turned on by it because you're turned on by kids."
Oh my
That's
God.
been the stupidest one I've seen on there.
That is the shittiest of shit takes I've seen people have here.
And why is it
It's like,
why is it always somebody that looks like a pedophile that makes that comment too? It seems.
it's because it's always coming from pedophiles. Right? If you're arguing with somebody online about this, and they start to tell you that if you see this movie as sexualizing little girls, that makes you the pedophile, then you know one of two things: they're a pedophile and they're trying to gaslight you.
Right.
It's absolutely gross. There's no reason for any of this, and I refuse to believe that these creative people who make these movies can't think of a more tactful way to film this message. Like, I refuse to believe this is the only way to get across the message that sexualizing kids is a bad thing. These are creative people. These are award-winning filmmakers.
Well, and from what I understand too, part of the message was all these girls seeing women be sexualized, it has an effect on them, which is absolutely true. But it seems like you also could have done that without having girls twerking in bikinis.
Yeah, it's not a bad message. right? It's actually a pretty good message. If that's the message you're going for, that's something that we all should keep in mind. The culture that we live in is hypersexualized. We are exposed to hypersexualization constantly, and little kids pick up on that shit. They're exposed to that shit, and if you're not being a diligent parent, it's very easy for kids to fall into this kind of stuff. That's not a bad message to try to get out there, right? But you don't get it out there by showing softcore porn in your anti-sexualization film. That's not how you do it. I've seen some people trying to make analogies to try to make sense of this to people. Like Tim Pool had a tweet where he's like, imagine if you made a movie talking about how drug abuse for kids is bad, and you make this movie by giving kids a bunch of crack and having them smoke it. Like, okay, yeah, I get it. Your message is good. Your execution of it is shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate it. And I'm not going to watch your stupid subscription site anymore because of it.
Yeah, and when you got songs like Wet Ass Pussy out there, I mean, obviously kids are going to come across that someplace.
No, don't start talking about that, because then we're gonna have people. You're gonna end up like Ben Shapiro talking about that shit.
I've seen wet ones. I'm not like Ben Shapiro.
I know they exist. They're out there. Just because you've never seen one doesn't mean they don't exist.
My favorite meme out of that whole Ben Shapiro thing was the one where they were doing like Anakin from Star Wars. I hate vaginas. They're dry and irritating, and they're everywhere.
They're dry and irritating, and just so gross.
He got roasted on that one. I said pussy.
You said it again.
Meow. I'm talking about cats. I'm talking about a cat bathing business.
We're not on the radio. This is a Facebook.
Somebody's
show.
Gonna start a pet groomers called Wet Ass Pussy.
I'd be surprised if that doesn't already exist.
So what do we?
That's where Nancy Pelosi takes her pets.
Yeah, let's not talk about Nancy Pelosi in that word. That's anyway.
No, Nancy Pelosi's a lizard person. All right.
So she's got a cloaca.
Somehow that just made it even worse.
My chicken knowledge comes to boot. So what do you want to talk about besides cuties? Because I don't want to touch that topic anymore. I'm done with it.
You're cutied out.
I'm cutied out. I can't take it anymore.
Okay. Well, let's move on to another topic. So today it was announced that the family of Breonna Taylor, who was killed in a no-knock police raid a couple months ago, I think it was now. This is not too recent. It was, I think it was a couple months ago. Her family is going to be awarded $12 million, and the city is going to promise to enact some police reforms. So I bet every libertarian out there is very happy to hear that it is the taxpayers and the taxpayers only who are going to be paying the price for government incompetence, just like always. Guys, this is the reality we live in. Just get used to it.
Well, and they'll have insurance for this sort of thing, but it'll drive up their rates long term. So the taxpayers will pay for it eventually. Maybe not maybe not right away, but you don't dish out $12 million and not have your insurance rates go up.
Yeah, which just means that the city's going to have to find a way to raise that money, right? That doesn't,
or they'll cut from somewhere else. One of the two.
Yeah, something else is going to lose funding, or you're going to have some taxes in some way, shape, or form go up. More people are going to be pulled over so they can give them a ticket. They're going to raise the price of vehicle registration, something like that. There's in some way, shape, and form, when police murder its citizens, it's the other citizens that have to foot the bill.
And I'm in no way saying that that family's not entitled to 12 million bucks for what happened to her, but maybe it should come out of the police pension.
Yeah. Oh, and maybe we should end qualified immunity so we can sue the police officers who actually commit these acts themselves.
I guarantee if that type of money starts coming out of police pensions, they'll start self-policing themselves very quickly. If Joe Cop knows that if his buddy shoots somebody in a dumbass no-knock raid like Breonna Taylor, and it means he's going to get $200 less a month in his pension when he retires, they're going to be on that quick.
Well, not only that, but they won't even want to ask for a no-knock raid to begin with, if that's the case.
Yeah,
right?
they
If
shouldn't.
they
Yeah, they
know,
shouldn't exist anyways. I don't care. Cops shouldn't be barging in, surprise, motherfucker, and just start blasting people.
yeah, no shit. No shit. And how many times have we heard of stories such as this, where police go to someone's house, they haven't announced themselves, it's dark, you see a couple strangers in your yard, you come out with the gun because duh, they might be freaking thieves, and you get shot for it. Like I remember back when my daughter was born, this was back a year ago, there was a case down in Texas where a couple cops were walking around in some woman's backyard. She sneaks a peek at them through her window and they shoot her.
I don't
They
remember
shoot her
that when they shot her through the window when she looked out.
they shot her through the window when she opened her blinds to take a look at them. Right. And I remember it was when my daughter was born because I wanted to talk about this. But, I took the week off because, my daughter, the same reason that Hobbs isn't here today.
Why didn't that get
I,
more play? I don't remember hearing about that one either. That seems odd.
I don't know. It's between the Ferguson riots and the George Floyd riots. There's this time in between where, I mean, police brutality was still going on, but not every single case of a police shooting resulted in a riot, right? You'd get protests, you'd get some news, but it wouldn't result in a riot, not until after George Floyd. And I think what really set this series of riots off was the COVID thing, right? Because now you have all these people who've been locked inside for months on end. Lots of people not working, lots of people spending all their time at home doing nothing but absorbing media. And put on top of that the fact that Donald Trump has been president for a while and the election season has been ramping up. And you got a tinderbox and they struck a match and the whole country's been lit on fire ever since. But yeah, but before George Floyd, all these cases, they happened, they got news, and then they kind of went away.
Yeah, now they only cover a shooting if it causes a riot. Is that what you're seeing?
It's right now, any interaction between cops and a criminal seems to start a riot in themselves, even if it's completely justified. Like there was this case over in Chicago a couple of weeks ago where the police were chasing down a murderer.
Mm-hmm.
And this murderer they were chasing shot himself, right? Like he committed suicide, and it started a riot because a bunch of people in Chicago, they're like,
no,
it
was Minnesota. It was Minnesota,
man.
yeah.
I think that one was in Chicago.
Okay, either way, yeah, I know which one you're talking about. Some guy shot himself, so they started rioting.
Yeah. I mean, there've been a couple incidents like that where, either the shooting was completely justified or didn't happen at all, still caused a riot, right? Because any incident between police and minorities right now gets amplified by 10, and we don't always wait for the facts. And and it's funny because it doesn't always apply to everyone. Remember a couple of weeks ago when Ryan Whitaker was shot in the back of the head by a police officer after his neighbor had called him in as a loud noise complaint. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
He was playing Crash Bandicoot with his girlfriend. Yep. Police showed up. Guy walks outside with his handgun. Cops go, gun, gun, gun. Guy puts it on the ground. And then the dude shoots him in the back of the head.
Yeah, what happened to that one? That one was terrible.
Oh, yeah. That one was way more egregious than what happened to Jacob Blake over in Wisconsin.
Well, we've had some good points over here on the side. You see those two? We've got somebody, what happened to mass shootings? Yeah, I don't know. It seems weird, doesn't it?
I mean, what happened to mass shootings was nobody's gathering in large groups anymore.
What do you mean? Somebody could blast the shit out of a riot.
I guess they could. I guess that's what the left is saying Kyle Rittenhouse did. So maybe that counts as a mass shooting in their minds.
Oh my god.
I know, because before, a lot of the mass shootings that we had, they take place at schools, malls, concerts,
bars,
big events.
Bars were the main. I don't know. Gee, maybe guns and alcohol don't mix. Go figure.
You had that Pulse nightclub shooting down in Florida. That's a famous one.
But I mean, there were multiple in the larger cities. You would see somebody gets shit talked to them in a bar, and they go outside and get their gun. So
yeah, but that wouldn't be the kind of mass shooting that people talked about.
It's
right.
How shitty is it that we've got to elevate the level of death to be qualified a mass shooting? Nah, it's under 10, bro. Sorry.
Not a mass shooting. Get on my level.
This is America.
Your body count wasn't high enough.
Yeah. I
think what happened to mass shootings, obviously COVID hit and schools aren't in session, bars are closed, concerts aren't happening, no one's going to malls.
To get back to that This is America thing, though, I wouldn't have it in this place is fucking insane, but I wouldn't want to live anywhere else, to tell you that. I don't know how these people live in these boring ass countries. What do they what do they spend their days doing? I mean, nothing really mattered. Say you're somebody that lives in some country in Eastern Europe. Nothing your country ever does ever matters. Nobody gives a shit about you. I kind of wonder what their life is like.
I used
living
to
in America
think
is the most insane fucking country you can probably live in on earth.
And on top of that, I used to live in Florida for like 10 years, and that was America times 10. Like all these stories you hear about Florida, man. Yeah, those are real. Those happen all the time, and you only hear about the craziest ones. Right?
Yeah.
Like I remember telling a buddy of mine here, right, who he lived his whole life in Washington State and here.
Mm-hmm.
And he was telling me about how he could never live in Florida because he's afraid of alligators. Like, alligators? Man, fuck alligators. No one gives a damn about alligators. Like, you go down to the park in Florida and you look in the canals, because there's canals everywhere. Like, literally everywhere. You just go down to the park and you throw a fishing line in the canal, because that's what you do when you grow up in Florida. And like, oh, look, an alligator. Cool. Just go about your day, because it's an alligator. No one gives a fuck about alligators.
Yeah, probably the only country that could have qualified for being as crazy as America would have been Australia, but they got turned into a bunch of pussies.
No, they absolutely did.
I hope Mercedes still not in watching. But yeah, I not to take us off the rails about how insane America is, and that's what makes it great. But if you say, let's go with the simulation theory, this is all a simulation, and we get to the end, and the people that are like, oh, where'd you go? Oh, I was in some bumblefuck country in Eastern Europe. It's like, I was in America.
I was in Austria.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Austria. That was a very interesting place.
I was in America. That shit was nuts.
Like, holy shit, dude, you won't believe how I died.
It'd be like if you went to an amusement park and somebody went on that little tiny kiddie roller coaster. I mean, living in America is going on that 300-foot, 90-mile-per-hour drop roller coaster, and everybody else is just doing the little shitty kiddie rides.
Have you ever heard of that amusement park? It's no longer open. It was like somewhere up in the Northeast, I think, where it was like the most dangerous amusement park in America. They had a water slide that had like a 360 loop.
Oh yeah, I
People would
saw.
literally people would literally come out the bottom with broken bones. Like people died at this place, right?
Yeah,
But that didn't keep the crowds away because people fucking loved it. That's America.
yeah. That would be it. You know, you're gonna get killed on the. You might die on this roller coaster, but it's a
But
good.
holy shit, you're gonna love it. The one out of 1,000 who die sucks to be them, but the rest of you, you're gonna fucking love this place.
Yeah, somebody over here said America's so great. Even the people that hate it live here.
Yeah, no shit. No shit. That's Pete. What's up, Pete? But yeah, that's the thing about it. Everyone's like, oh, America's such a hellhole. They don't even have universal health care. Well, why? How come all the people in the world don't try to go to your shithole country? They come here if they can get here.
Yep.
Right? I think if America was like plopped right in the middle of Europe, you think all these people would be going to Germany and England and France and Sweden? They'd be coming to America if it was in walking distance of them. They go to your shithole countries because you're what's close. You're convenient.
Yep.
That's the only reason they go to France.
Yep.
Yeah, people make boats out of old moldy tires and sail shark-infested waters to be in America.
Yeah, if America is more accessible, I mean, we'd have people complain about South American immigration. That's just because they're close. If it's more accessible, everybody'd want to come here.
You know, I used to. You were talking about just how it's more fun to keep tabs on what's going on in America than it is what's going on in, I don't know, Austria. I don't know why I think Austria. Sorry if anyone out there is Austria.
That's a good example. I haven't heard shit about Austria in years. I have no idea. I mean, you hear about other countries. Belarus has riots. You never hear shit about Austria. That's probably a good example to use.
I haven't heard anything about Austria since the Nazis took it over. It's the last time Austria has been relevant to world history.
Oof. Sorry, Austrians.
That's what it is. It's just irrelevant. I mean, not as a. I mean, I guess it's more relevant than Australia, but Australia right now is absolutely nuts. Did you see that video of that woman who was getting arrested in her home because she reposted a Facebook event
in Australia?
Yeah, in Australia. Like they were having an anti-lockdown protest.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently in Australia, you're not allowed to be anti-lockdown. So there was an event that was supposed to protest the lockdowns, and she shared this event on her wall, and they arrested her for it.
We should create an asylum program for Australians that want to get back to being crazy again.
Yeah, well, I'm sure all the Australians who want to be crazy, they like move out into the outback and live with the kangaroos.
I don't know.
They're still fighting the emus out in the outback.
Riding the emus around, herding their kangaroos.
No, they're riding the kangaroos.
Oh, they ride the kangaroos. Okay.
Yeah, they're still fighting the Great Emu War. They'll never win, but they're still fighting it. Now, if they were Floridians, they would have won this thing decades ago. But because they're Australians, they're never going to win. Sorry.
Well, I took us way off the rails on that one. What were we even on when I blew that up?
Breonna Taylor, I think. We were talking about Breonna Taylor.
Yeah, and the other shootings going on.
No, yeah, just shootings in general. Albania, Romania, Bulgaria. Now, Bulgaria's got an interesting history. Albania, yeah, I'll give you that. I don't know jack shit about Albania. There's a lot of countries in Eastern Europe that are completely and utterly irrelevant to everything.
A lot of countries in Western Europe.
They're so small. They're like the size of Connecticut, too. And they keep splitting into smaller countries. This is the craziest thing about it. Like you thought when Yugoslavia balkanized that they were done making tiny countries out of it. Like, nope. Everyone still hates the Serbs, so everyone's still trying to leave Serbia.
You know, the other thing too, when people eventually leave the earth and go out into beyond, it's going to be fucking Americans and Chinese. Every other country. I mean, if you want your bloodline to be relevant, you better live in America or China, because that's who's going to spread out across the cosmos. It's not going to be.
That's who's going to colonize Mars.
Yeah, it's going to be the Americans and the Chinese. It's not going to be Romania.
I mean, the Russians might get to back to space. Maybe. I don't know. They'll. Someone has to bring the vodka. To
Russia's space race was all smoke and mirrors. They were driving their country. If you look at how much money Russia actually makes, I think, aren't they about equivalent to California?
It's not a rich country.
No,
it's not. It's a poor country with a shrinking population and a debilitating alcohol problem. Like, that's not even a joke.
No, it's not.
Like, the country is crippled by alcoholism. And I mean, it's Russia. You can't really blame people for drinking their sorrows away if you live in Russia.
Yeah, I mean, maybe Russia won't. I mean, maybe there'll be some Indians in space.
Like Sidney Gandhi.
What's that? Sidney
Gandhi.
Hey, those guys are Americans. They'll make it.
Yeah. We'll have a Native American reservations on Mars.
Oh, geez. Don't give the government any ideas.
Oh, God. Like, all right, guys, we finally have some worse real estate for you. We'll ship you off to Mars.
We've been waiting 400 years to find worse real estate to move all you guys to, but we did it.
We found it. We're moving to Mars. I hope you like dust.
Yeah, we are,
and radiation.
We already broke all these treaties, so we'll just
and having no air.
Yep. But anyways,
Robin says yes. In The Expanse, dude from Mars has a Texas accent. Yeah, I love that about it.
Yeah, people, and if you noticed in what was that, Firefly, that old TV show, everybody in everything was English and Chinese.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, she's right. Like in The Expanse. Have you ever seen The Expanse?
I've seen some of it. Yeah,
really good. Yeah, people from a certain part of Mars, like that part of Mars, was settled by people from Texas and India.
There you go.
But now all the Indian people that live there, they all started speaking with a Texas drawl. So you got all these Indians talking like they're from Texas. It's fucking hilarious.
I mean, sci-fi writers can be right on a lot of things. That's probably one of them.
Yeah, now you'll have this weird multicultural mix when you start colonizing different areas in space, and you never know what you're going to end up with.
But
we got off the rails with that one.
Yeah, boy,
too.
We got way off. Sorry about that.
I don't even know.
Let's get us back on.
I don't even know what we're talking about anymore.
We were on. What do we have after Breonna? This is what happens when Hobbs not here.
Yeah, we just go off on whatever tangent. Like I was gonna go off on the
that sheriff.
Oh yeah, the couple sheriffs got shot in LA County.
Yeah, we got two sheriff items to talk about. That one and the anarchist Satanist.
Oh, let's talk about that one.
Yeah, that's more upbeat than the other one.
Yeah, the other one is, guys, don't go out and shoot cops, please.
In the back of the head while they're sitting in their car.
Yeah, and then don't go and block the entrances to hospitals either. That's kind of a dick move to do. So I'm wagging my finger at those people. But let's talk about this other thing. You wanna lead us on with this one?
Do you have a picture of this person put up? I think it's kind of. I mean, anyways. So in New Hampshire, they have, I forget the town, but they are electing a new sheriff. They have a longtime incumbent who's popular and will probably win again. And there's been a GOP guy who's ran against him a couple times, and he's like, you know what? Forget it. I'm not going to do it anymore. So I'm not going to run. And it was getting down to like the day of the filing deadline. And this, what was her name? Aria DeMezzo, who has a radio show called The She-Mail or something. Sees that this is blank. So they're registered as a Republican and they went ahead and filed for it in the GOP primary. Now, here's the funny part. This is a openly transsexual anarchist Satanist who managed to get 4,000 people in the GOP to fill in the checkbox by her name. So her whole point in doing this, and if you're a libertarian, you already realize this, is that the whole system is pointless because nobody researches who they're voting for. She commented that there were like 118 people that wrote in a different name. And she said, congratulations, you actually researched your candidate. But 4,000 people filled in a checkbox by this person just because they were on the right team.
Yeah, exactly. And it's especially for lower offices like that. Like when you're voting for president, Congress, Senate, stuff like that, most people will have a general idea who they're voting for, especially for president. Well, when you get down to city council, county commissioner, sheriff, I don't know who the fuck these people are. You just say, oh, an R. Click. And this is how you end up. Well, how does this article put it? New Hampshire's first trans anarchist satanic candidate for county sheriff says she's not getting a lot of support from the Republican Party. Feel like probably had to expect that going into it.
I mean, it's not like she didn't have an online presence that even a simple Google search of her name would have shown people, oh, okay, this person's. I'm assuming if you're a GOP in New Hampshire, you don't want a transsexual Satanist as your sheriff. Maybe they do.
Maybe you do. Maybe that's exactly what you want.
Maybe that was a strong selling point. But I think it made a great message that, look how screwed, and it made national headlines too. Look how screwed up
we're talking about it.
Yeah. It's been in I've seen it on every major news site. Yeah. I love that sign though.
Your sign
for those of you that are just listening to the podcast, it says Ari DeMezzo for sheriff, and the last F in Shara turns into F the police.
Oh boy. So that's shocking. And here's the thing, yeah, she's making a point. But it's a point that doesn't have to be made because everyone who has ever voted for a third party in their lives knows this to be true. People vote tribally. Mm-hmm. They don't vote for a candidate. They vote for a tribe. They don't study these people. They don't know who these people are. They see an R by their name and instinctively vote for them. Well, and yes, it's a good point to make, but we've kind of known that.
Some states even go one step further and they have ticket voting or whatever. You don't even have to look at the candidate. You can just check a box.
Straight ticket voting.
Yeah. Just check a box at the top of your ballot, red or blue team.
as if we need to give lazy voters an easier way out. Right? It's bad enough that people don't know who they're voting for and they don't know the actual candidates, that they're just checking R's and D's. But you just at least make them check every box. Don't just give them one box to check. It just seems kind of lazy, and Americans are already too lazy as it is.
Right.
Like, my goodness, people, we don't want that kind of laziness. We want people to actually take the effort to vote for every member of their tribe. That's so hard to ask.
Or at least Google a dang name. I mean, how hard is that? You can even have your phone in the voting booth, can't you? So
I gotta wonder, in these states that do have straight ticket voting, if the Libertarian Party is even on there as an option for straight ticket voting.
I don't know. I would.
Oh, we forgot to talk about Joe Rogan offering to do a debate between Trump and Biden.
Crap. Did we have anybody that wanted to call in while we're thinking of that?
No, I haven't. Okay. Haven't had anybody attempt.
Yeah, let's wrap out with that.
Yeah, let's do that. So Joe Rogan apparently has said that he is willing to do a 4-hour debate between Donald Trump and Joe Biden with no live audience, just the three of them. Well, and Jamie, because you got to have Jamie in there to pull up videos of chimpanzees ripping people's heads off. Yeah, you gotta have that. You gotta have him there to pull up videos of weird fish or whatever the heck he does. But yeah, I think that would be a fantastic idea. That would be the absolute best debate ever.
Yeah, I don't think Biden could last 4 hours. I don't think his Alzheimer meds would.
No, I mean it will never, ever, ever happen. And that's
Trump
the reason
has such
why.
an ego, though. If Biden didn't want to do it, I could almost see Jorgensen volunteering
To be his opponent.
Yeah,
I'm surprised that Trump hasn't gone on Joe Rogan. Like seriously, I bet Joe Rogan
used to do radio shows all the time before he's president. He was a regular on Howard Stern's show.
Yeah.
I don't know. Was he ever on
Joe
Rogan?
Rogan?
Has he ever been on there before?
I'm pretty sure if he had been on Rogan, we would all know about it. Right? He would have said something really stupid.
Yeah, but he says so much stupid stuff. How do you even? What could he?
Yeah, but you know the tactic that Democrats are using. Just throw everything at the wall and hope it sticks. This would have been part of the everything that they threw. Right? So if he'd been on Joe Rogan, we'd know about it. But I'm surprised that he hasn't like reached out to be on the Joe Rogan podcast as president. How awesome would that be? Trump on the Joe Rogan program? I want to see that. I want to see if Joe Rogan can get Donald Trump to smoke a blunt with him on the show.
I mean, he could just pardon. He could just pardon himself, right? Immediately after he's done with it.
I mean, he could just do it in California, right? Like, hey, let's do this show in a state where it's legal.
How's that going to work? Isn't Rogan moving to Texas?
Yeah, he's moving. I think he's already moved to Texas.
Is weed legal in Texas? I
don't know, but I mean, who the fuck's going to try to arrest Joe Rogan?
Yeah. Alex Jones will be his bodyguard.
He'll probably just sit down for a 2-hour episode with the cops that came to arrest him.
Yeah, but that show will never.
That's crazy, man.
That show will never happen.
Crazy. Have you tried DMT? Like, no, I haven't tried DMT. Let's do it right now.
That show will never happen. No way, Biden.
No,
their team would never let him do it.
No, I don't think that their team is going to let him.
But I could see Trump going on there by himself because nobody tells Trump what to do.
Please, I want to see Donald Trump on the Joe Rogan podcast. That would be the most hilarious shit.
Joe Rogan kind of sunk Bernie because when Bernie came on his show, Bernie went in the toilet. The SJWs attacked him. Yeah.
The stupidest shit. So let's talk about our products and services before we call it a night. For those of you who are watching the video, I have a nice little slideshow of the various shirts,
and they're $20. It says 22, but they're actually 20.
I gotta change that. Plus, if you become a subscriber to the Road to Liberty podcast on our Facebook page, not only do you get a discount code so that you can get all these awesome items cheaper, but you also become a member of our exclusive subscribers group, where you will get access to the guest link to these shows so that you can call into the program and be a part of it and ask questions of our guests. Plus, you'll be able to listen to exclusive subscriber live streams. Just did one with TJ Roberts yesterday on the state of universities in this country. That one is on our subscribers only group right now. And for those of you who are not subscribers, you will get to see that episode this coming Monday. So everyone that's a subscriber, you get to see the show a week early. Everyone else, you got to wait. So stay tuned for that. It's a good one. You guys are going to love it.
Yeah, there they are. And 20, that one says 20 though. Weird. Yeah, they're all 20, just so everybody knows. And those are original designs too. You're not going to find them on every. I see there's a lot of Liberty t-shirt stores out there, but they'll have the same designs, it seems.
Yep. All right, good. Ben, got anything else you want to say before we call it a night?
No, I'm not going to say anything else because we wound up talking too long.
No, we didn't. We ended up
No,
talking
if I bring something else up. Thanks for everybody tuning in, though. Really active audience over there. Made up for my memory loss on a lot of the movies.
Yep. All right, everybody. We'll see you next week on another episode of the Token and Hobbs Show. This time with 100% more Hobbs. See you guys then. Good night, everybody.